Here we are again, man. 1 year ago, I just sit in this chair and make a video about how the Cowboys lost in the playoffs to 49ers. And a year later, we're right back in the same spot. This time, the divisional round, but yeah, the Cowboys lost again, 19-12 to the 49ers in a game that was very winnable. Very, very winnable, but a lot of the issues that we saw coming into this game were on display. Shocker. Cowboys got the L today, 19-12 was the final score. Again, really winnable game. A lot of things they could have done, missed a lot of plays. Dak Prescott followed up his amazing performance in Tampa Bay with a stinker, 23 for 37, a touchdown and 2 interceptions, and one of those picks came in the absolute worst possible time. Zeke with 10 carries for 26 yards, about as useless as normal. Tony Pollard got injured in this game, which pretty much killed any Cowboy run game. And the only receiver on this team who did anything in this game was CeeDee Lamb, who had a great game, 10 catches for 117 yards. But outside of CeeDee, there was nothing. Schultz was your second leading receiver with 5 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. And honestly, Schultz might have played his final game in Dallas, and I wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, the awareness on that final play was just on the final drive where he didn't even get his feet in. That was dumb. But same time, you just don't want to pay Schultz. Jake Ferguson's faster anyway. Cowboys have some decisions to make this offseason, and Schultz should be an easy one. Don't re-sign him. If he wants a lot of money, just let him walk, man. 49ers played a good game. Brock Purdy was okay, 19 for 29, 214 yards. Honestly, he really didn't have to do much. He got set up with some short fields, made the throws when he needed to on the third downs, mostly slant routes, and he relied on his run game. Elijah Mitchell was big in the fourth quarter. 14 carries for 51 yards. McCaffrey, 10 carries, 35 yards and a touchdown. And George Kittle, what a game he had. 5 catches, 95 yards. Debo is all right. 4 catches, 45 yards in this one. So, yeah, man, it was a pretty depressing game to watch. Very boring in terms of scoring. And yeah, the Cowboys had chances to win this game. They did. They could have easily won this game. They made a bunch of mistakes. They had 2 drives that they really could have made something happen. They had the drive where they got the fumble on San Francisco's punt, and they only scored 3 points out of it. They also had the drive where CeeDee made that incredible catch. They got 0 points out of that drive because Dak Prescott couldn't see T.Y. Hilton streaking wide open across the field. Pretty much, the Cowboys didn't make the plays when they needed to. That's pretty much the story of this game. The Cowboys did not do what they need to do. Offense was pretty much non-existent. 12 points, and losing Pollard at the end of the first half was an absolute killer. I mean, Pollard is one of the most explosive weapons on the team, and losing him is just a killer. I really hope he's okay, and I also hope we can keep him. But at the end of the day, losing him killed your run game and a lot of the explosiveness in your offense. You couldn't run the ball because Zeke is too fat to get anything more than 2 yards a carry. Even when the hole opens up for him, the man still finds a way to turn what should be a 20-yard run into a 5-yard run. I hope that we can address wide receiver in the offseason again. When the Cowboys made the decision to trade Amari Cooper this offseason, a lot of people were not happy with it. I thought that the Cowboys might be able to, use that money elsewhere and make moves, and maybe this would create more flexibility, and with the thought that Michael Gallup would be coming back healthy and that we'd be able to pick up some sort of wide receiver help in the draft. The Cowboys failed to do any of that. Jalen Tolbert, our third-round pick this year, was an absolute bust and didn't even see the field at all and was usually a healthy scratch, which is terrible. And the money that he used elsewhere was used on guys like Jonathan Hankins and T.Y. Hilton, solid players but not game changers. You traded a game-changing wide receiver in Amari Cooper for chump change with the thought process of maybe adding something in the draft and using that money elsewhere, and the Cowboys didn't. I like T.Y. Hilton, and he made some big plays for us this year, but when it came down to it, T.Y. Hilton was never going to step up and be a number 2 receiver. The guy's in his 30s. And speaking of people who are not in their 30s, Michael Gallup never looked the same this year. He just did not return to his old form. I was hoping that as the season progressed, Gallup would get back to his old form of being a good receiver, but he just wasn't. He couldn't get any separation, and the one time he actually could have made a play in this game, Dak missed him on the route. In this game, Dak Prescott wasn't good. Again, coming off of that performance against Tampa Bay, his confidence was sky high, and then he put it all the way down in this one. The interception he threw at the end of the first half was atrocious, and honestly, in my opinion, that cost you the game. You had 3 points lined up right there, potentially 7, and he threw a terrible interception. I don't know where Dak was looking on this throw. I mean, it's a quarterback it's a read that a JV quarterback could make, honestly. How do you throw that right into the hands of the 49ers defender? Makes absolutely no sense. And yeah, coming into this game, the main stories for the Cowboys were they couldn't stop the run. Your quarterback is inconsistent with turnovers, and you have no other wide receiver help outside of CeeDee Lamb. And guess what? All those issues were on display. The run game was shut down for most of the game, but in the fourth quarter, the Niners were able to bleed clock by just running the ball with Elijah Mitchell, and they completely overpowered a tired Cowboys front seven. Dak Prescott committed two bad turnovers that cost you points, and they gave the 49ers 6 free points, which turned out to be pretty much the difference in this game. And the Cowboys only had one receiver with more than 30 yards this game, which was number 88, CeeDee Lamb. So pretty much all the issues that you had coming in this game were on full display. And honestly, in the offseason, I don't know what I want the Cowboys to do. I want them to get a receiver, that's for sure. Michael Gallup, I'm hoping, comes back to form next year and looks like a competent receiver, because what we saw out of him this year was terrible. He just wasn't the same. And I'm hoping that's the case and that he's able to make a full recovery in the offseason and get back to the normal Gallup that we all know and love. But fact of the matter is, you need some sort of outside wide receiver help, because I'm sorry, but if Noah Brown and his terrible hands or 30-something-year-old T.Y. Hilton is your number 3 receiver, you've got some serious problems. So it was just disappointing, man. It was disappointing to lose this game. And I don't even know what we were doing on the final play of the game. Honestly, that was one of the most confusing plays I've ever seen, but it's not like it really mattered anyway. It's just another disappointing end to the season. Again, it stinks that you had so many chances to win this game. You could have easily won this game if you made a couple plays. Now I have to watch the Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC Championship game next week. Not going to be fun. But yeah, man, just another disappointing end to the season for the Cowboys. This season, they overcame a lot of adversity throughout, and I thought that, once, Dak got hurt, obviously, things were not looking good for this team in week 1. They actually ended up responding and became a pretty solid team. But at the end of the day, the issues that plagued them all season and stopped them from reaching their full potential were on full display in this game, and it's unfortunate. When you get to the draft, I want the Cowboys to address the issues. Again, you cannot leave the wide receiver position untouched, and you cannot draft another player like Tolbert. You need to draft an actual impact player. Yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hate making videos like this, man. 2 years in a row just sucks. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you guys all have a great day. Peace out, man.